Hey folks, welcome back to another Poemaster video, and today let's go over some, builds and team comps, all that stuff for Nessa and Dreadnought, right? So Nessa and Dreadnought, it's a damage dealer, right? I mean, they call it a tech, it's a damage dealing tech unit. Doesn't really do any tech stuff, it's here to do a lot of damage, right? So don't get it twisted. Anyways, here's what we got. So Nessa Dreadnought, in terms of like a lot of like the stuff it has that you need to take advantage of is the big damage over here, right? The fact that it's water type, so obviously you get a boost from rain, and things that you kind of have to watch out for is the speed. It has absolutely terrible speed. However, it does get helped out by Restrain Freebie, which has 40% chance of giving you a free move next effect, which is really nice, right? Which again helps with the speed a lot. So if you get like once every 3 turns, you should be fine with the gauges, right? So you get stuff like Restrain Power Up, extra 50% when the opponent's restrained, which you restrain yourself. You got Ripple Effect 9 for your stat, debuffs, right? Which is okay, I guess. I don't find it extremely useful, just because, I mean, it doesn't really have any AoE moves, so like who cares. But I guess it saves you some time. It's not terrible, but it's also not anything crazy. But yeah, anyways, let's get into this. So here's in terms of like what lucky skill you want to pick up for Dreadnought. Since you have Relentless, a lot of people have been saying, oh, maybe for you go for Defense Crush, right, to give you some extra defense debuffs, which is definitely an option, right? I still think Critical Strike 2 over here is probably the best option, just because it's just overall, it gives you overall more DPS, right? However, Defense Crush 2 is not terrible either, right, if you want to go for that. But yeah, those are generally your options. Obviously, Power Flux is always okay-ish if you just can't roll Crit Strike 2, but I probably honestly would just try to go for Crit Strike 1 instead. If you can't get Crit Strike 2, I'd pick Crit Strike 1 over Power Flux 3, right? So anyways, let's get into the builds and all that stuff. So 1 out of 5, as usual, pick up everything. Well, maybe not the Rock Tomb stuff, so because like cares about the Rock Tomb stuff. But like maybe Move Gauge Refresh if you really need it. Maybe the accuracy instead of the power-ups. Something like that, right? Again, 1 out of 5, not very interesting. Alright, let's get 2 out of 5. Also not extremely interesting either, really don't have anything. You do have the Move Gauge Refresh and Razor Shell, so you probably pick that up. Just pick up like a bunch of stat nodes to increase your Razor Shell damage mostly. If you have someone to debuff speed, right? Because you do not want to be spamming Rock Tomb to debuff speed, right? Because Razor Shell just gives you more damage overall, right? Than trying to increase your speed or debuff the opponent's speed for like Cakewalk damage. But yeah, if you do have someone else to debuff speed, you could pick up Cakewalk. Pick the MP Refresh, so you don't need anyone to buff your stats, I guess, right? And some other stuff. If you want to go for Jawlock, then obviously you want to pick up Jawlock stuff instead of any of that, right? If you want, you can pick up Vigils as well, I guess. Which is all this stuff over here, right? You probably want the attack and speed still. And then last 2, wherever you want, right? So that's 2 out of 5. As for 3 out of 5, you have a lot of options, right? You could go for Jawlock DPS, you could go for Razor Shell DPS, right? So it's going, or slash, it's a DPS slash nuke because you also have like Relentless that you could pick up. Relentless is definitely nicer because you're not forced to like either run like another speed debuffer, which is an issue. And here's the issue, right? Because if you are running another speed debuffer, you're not running another rain unit, which first of all, it debuffs, or not debuffs, decreases your Razor Shell damage because you're not getting speed, or not speed. You're not getting rain buffs on your Razor Shell damage, and also obviously rain also applies to your sync move as well. It's 1.5 times multiplier, although Cakewalk is 2 times multiplier. Although rain is like a separate multiplier, which is nice, right? But again, you're just losing so much damage on your Razor Shell, right? So you probably don't want to do that. But yeah, you can pick up Relentless, definitely. That's something you go for. There's some, rain stuff down here, Raging Rain. Raging Rain 3, Shower Power 5, right? Another Sync Move Power Up node. Pick this up, probably another Razor Shell, something like that would be fine, right? Crit Focus, doesn't really matter, right? Because, you know, if you pick up Crit Focus, you still need +2 physical attack anyway, so you're better off going with like that, or just bringing a support, right? Support, obviously, much better option over here. As for, I guess, Jawlock, right? Jawlock, you want to go up there, pick up all this stuff, right? Obviously, Shower Power, Raging Rain as well. If you want, you could pick up Restrain Recovery. That does cost you another liquidation or sync move power up node, right? But it does help you heal a bit if you need that. If you don't need that, you can pick this up, right? If you're picking this up, you can also pick some more like Jawlock power ups, right? Some attack over here as well. You go for if you're not running Jawlock in Rain, because you definitely because Jawlock obviously it's dark type, doesn't benefit from Rain. So if you're not running it in Rain, which there are a lot of situations where you don't, you could definitely do some other stuff, right? If you're not running it in Rain, I'd assume you probably would have, some help trying to debuff speed. So you come down and pick up Hunter Instinct, maybe, right? Or if you want, you go for Relentless instead. It just depends on if you're syncing with Nessa or not. If you're still syncing with Nessa, then you probably want to go for Relentless here instead. Maybe Cakewalk, I guess, right? If you could get, is there any unit that maybe like Hilbert could help you debuff defense, and then you could bring in Valerina to help debuff speed, or maybe, but then again, like Hilbert's not very great at tanking, and obviously Valerina's not very great at tanking either, but like maybe something like a Hilbert and Onyx, which does a Brock, right? A Brock and Onyx, which is slower to debuff speed than obviously Valerina, but Onyx could definitely double as a tank, right? At least physically, right? Great physical tank, something like that, or some other options. But you got stuff like that you could do, or if you don't want, again, it's fine. You can just go for more Jawlock power ups. So obviously, you can always go for that. In terms of the big Sync Nuke build, which is again terrible, but if you want to have fun, which is always a good thing, right? Want to have fun, you could do that. It's just impossible to set up, right? It's just impossible to set up, so you don't actually want to do it. But in terms of some team comps, right? This is probably the best team comp for Nessa you could run. You want to run a Rain, Razor Shell, Sync Nuke sort of build, right? However, here's the slight issue with this team comp is Nessa is good here. However, Cyrus is better. And Cyrus is free. So unfortunately, even though Nessa can fit this team, Cyrus is just a better option, unfortunately. But yeah, you could definitely run this. Obviously, the amount of damage Nessa, both Nessa and Mei and Singsu Blue with Hydro Cannon, if you could get, because like again, Nessa is slightly suspect on the speed, but with the Racing Rain that both Singsu Blue and Mei provide, right, with both Racing Rains, and on top of that, ever so often you get the restrained, the free move off of restrain. You could probably pull off an extra Hydro Cannon here or there, right? If not, then you can Water Pulse. But outside of Blue, definitely Mei and Nessa will give you insane amounts of DPS per turn, right? So that's nice. And then some other things, obviously, if you don't have Mei, you can replace it with Pelipper. If you have Tech Blastoise, that's obviously much better, right? To set up Rain, because it also gives you, the extra type skill from Tech, which is nice. And yeah, that's this again. That's something you could run if you don't have Singsu Blue. You could probably run something like a Hilbert. Although if you are running Hilbert, you probably want to tank with Mei, which then you want to pick up Refreshing Rain, right? But yeah, Hilbert could be fine here. Torchic, even if you don't have anything, or Medicham. Although I think Torch is probably better. Medicham buffs you. I don't know. Torch is probably better overall, just in speed wise, right? Although Medicham could also debuff defenses, with Rock Smash. I guess Medicham. Yeah, Medicham could be nice here as well. But then again, you do have to tank with Mei, which is not as good as tanking with Singsu Blue overall. And if you don't have Mei, then you probably don't want to run that. But again, if you're not running Rain, something like you know, again, Serena Whimsicott over here for speed debuffs. If you're trying to go for take cake wild hunters, which again I don't really recommend. It's just better runner and Rain with like Relentless instead. But if you don't really have other options, you go for Serena here, or again, like I mentioned before, Onyx or other speed debuffers. There's a lot of speed debuffers in the game, right? Clement, whatever, right? What else? I think that's like most stuff you go for. Oh, as for defense debuffers, obviously Nanu and Grimsley. That's the not Nanu, Nanu and Persian, right? You go for that. Which debuffs faster, right? And then you also have Kukui, which debuffs slower, but it is AoE and a better unit and faster, right? Also give you flinches, a lot of other stuff like Kukui does. But yeah, you could run you know, something like that instead. But anyways, that's maybe this one. I guess hope you guys enjoy. Let me guys in the comments down below. Like and share this video, so channel for some more content. I'll see you guys in the next one.